We have a showdown unfolding here increasingly between the executive branch, President Trump, and the judiciary. Over the weekend, you might have heard the president invoke the 1798 Alien Enemies Act. This was a law signed by John Adams, our second president. This has to do with wartime powers to deport people without a judge. In U.S. history, this has only been invoked a handful of times, all during war, most recently World War I and World War II. Trump has declared that what's been happening across the border is in fact a war, and he specifically wants to be able to deport people without having to go through judicial proceedings in regards to Venezuelan migrants who are here, who are accused members of Tren de Aragua. This is a gang out of Venezuela that's really expanded here in the U.S. in recent years. And over the weekend, you had a case where the U.S. deported more than 250 illegal migrants, according to the government. A judge, though, had a hearing, a federal judge, and called on them to pause it, saying, do not deport these people under the 1798 Act until I determine whether that was constitutional. In fact, the judge on Saturday said, if there are planes in the air with deportees, please turn those planes around. Well, ultimately, 260 or so individuals were sent to El Salvador. Regardless of that call by the judge, you had the president of El Salvador, Bukele, actually put up a tweet saying oopsies with the headline from the judge. You had the White House and Justice Department say, the judge, we feel, had no jurisdiction on this, so we did it anyway. We don't feel we defied him. We feel that the judge was out of order here. So this is a case that will move up through the ranks, but this is just the latest case where you see the executive branch challenging the judiciary, which has checks on power according to the Constitution, saying that when we determine a judge had no right to do something, we're going to do stuff anyway. And so we're going to determine here whether this invocation of the 1798 Alien Enemies Act was constitutional. What happens to these migrants, these illegal migrants who were sent to El Salvador? Who were they? We have heard from the White House here that some of their rap sheets included kidnapping, robbery, aggravated assault. But in a number of these cases, they didn't see a judge because of this invocation of the act. And that is what a judge has taken issue with, that they didn't get due process before they were deported. As far as El Salvador, why were they sent to El Salvador? Well, they have an agreement. The president there has said, hey, United States, we're willing to take in citizens, non-citizens, whoever you got. El Salvador has made a point of building these very huge prisons in recent years. And so there's a deal here between the U.S. and El Salvador. The U.S. pays about $20,000 per prisoner to send people to El Salvadorian prisons to deal with the glut here. Now, typically you would go through a legal process before a judge, but that's why the 1798 Act is so key here for the president. And we need to determine, a judge needs to determine whether that was actually constitutional.